If you are a prosecutor or have friends that are prosecutors, pass this video on to them. It might prevent them from looking stupid in court when they just look at the report of an officer rather than reviewing body cam footage also. I'm Carolina, and this is Matthew Kruger. He's a police officer for the Fort Worth Police Department, formerly with the Irving Police Department. Officer Matthew Kruger used excessive force to unlawfully arrest me, and he almost killed me. And I could not wait to get the affidavit of this arrest in my hands, because in it, he had to explain what he arrested me for and why he used excessive force. We're going to compare the affidavit with the video, and then in the comments, I want you to tell me, was he justified? This is the actual affidavit that Officer Kruger had to write to justify why he arrested me and why excessive force was used. And this happened in an entertainment district in Fort Worth, Texas. All right, let's begin with the very first paragraph where he describes what everybody was wearing, the clothing, the vehicles they were driving, and he did that to establish the fact that I should know that they're police officers and I should comply, even if they're unlawful orders. He tells who the two ladies were, and then he says this: I, along with officers T. Michael and K. Boats, were conducting an investigation into a hit-and-run vehicle collision in the parking lot in front of 1001 Fox Street in Fort Worth, Texas. Continuing on to the second paragraph, he says, this collision involved a suspected intoxicated driver who had crashed his vehicle into another and a structure in the parking lot, and then he ran from the scene on foot. Multiple officers were in the area looking for the driver. Officer Michael and Boats were coordinating the tow and the impound of the suspect's vehicle, and I was in my patrol vehicle reviewing real-time crime center cameras in the area to attempt to locate
there's
him.
actually two videos that were filmed that night. The main one that everybody saw, and one right before that. And I've got to tell you, I think that the person that was driving this vehicle had to be Jesus Christ himself.
I say that because Officer Kruger says that they were investigating an alleged drunk driver who did a hit and run and crashed his car into another one, plus had a collision with some sort of structure in the parking lot. Yet he was able to make it past all the extra police presence that was out there because of recent shootings and into a parking spot exactly in the middle of two lines. Then he was able to escape on foot. But his car doesn't even look like it's been in a wreck. So let's continue with the next paragraph and see if there's any truth in that one.
Same parking lot near one of our patrol vehicles appearing to video record police activities. This parking lot is private property, has multiple signs posted stating that no trespassing or loitering is allowed. And the owners of the property have previously entered into a written agreement with the Fort Worth Police Department to allow us to remove any occupants of the property after business hours. Despite this, I did not immediately contact Rodriguez to remove her from the area in order to focus on continuing to search for the suspected driver. So I went back again to look for these numerous posted signs. I want to show you all the signs. I want to show you all the signs that say, no trespassing, get out, no loitering, okay? I can show you all the signs that have that. So, if you look in this area right here, which is where it happened, you don't see any signs that say no trespassing, no loitering, none of the signs that he said. There's lots of signs, right? I actually stopped right here. This is probably where it happened, right here. All right? No signs this way. So I searched for these signs that are everywhere, and finally, I find one. It's the sign. This is one sign on the entire wall that says no loitering or soliciting on this property. That's the only sign that's here, even though the affidavit said that this area has lots of signs stating that there's no trespassing and no loitering. Also notice that there's no ordinance number written underneath the writing, which means that this is an unlawful sign. Some people think that a small little fib like that isn't a big deal. However, if you lie about a little thing, you'll lie about bigger things. So in the next paragraph, he says that I verbally berated the tow truck driver and the ladies with obscene language for several minutes. And then I started to question the two officers, the two ladies, why they were towing the vehicles. And they decided to ignore me. So because they ignored me, I yelled, help, fire, rape, fire, fire, fire. And in so doing, I knowingly initiated, communicated, or circulated a report of a present, past, or future fire, offense, or other emergency that I knew was false and baseless, and that would ordinarily cause action by an officer or volunteer agency organized to deal with emergencies or place a person in fear of imminent serious bodily injury. That's why they came over here. That's the tow truck. That's their discussion over here. They're having a discussion over here.
Here's the tow truck driver that I allegedly berated with obscene words. I bet you if I grab that body cam footage of that cop, he's telling the tow truck driver to totally ignore me. I guarantee it. He's saying I'm crazy, just ignore her, don't say a word to her, even if she asks you a question.
They're saying, okay, we're going to tell this, we're going to tell that. Let's see. What are we going to do? Where'd you... Oh, I bet it's a cop car that's broken. That's hilarious if it is. Predator ones. Predator tow truck drivers. They're the worst. What's going on? Don't say something to me, I dare you. Fire. He said we were about to tow this car off. They're towing a bunch of cars off. Like that shows really, like, they're trying to build the entertainment district up, right? And this is a great way to do it. This is great for community relations. Isn't this a great idea for community relations, to start towing people's cars? I think that's a wonderful idea. Yeah, that's the driver. These guys are staring at me like I'm crazy. It's really late for people, huh? Good to see everybody. Yeah, they're going to open up some extra parking spots. It's great. That's great for community policing. Really good. Let's see what this sign says. That's great for community relations. That shows the spirit. That's the spirit. Fuck somebody, stay up.
Why couldn't they just come over, or somebody come over and just say, hey, we're not towing all of them. This one was involved in a hit and run. Would that have been hard? I don't see how it was involved in a hit and run because there's no damage on it. But why didn't they just calm my fears of them hauling everything off and just say, it's just this one, Carolina. Don't worry about it. That's all they had to do. But instead, they ignored me. And I had been hanging around for quite a while without anybody telling me to leave. We're actually told not to interact with us. They're not told to ignore us. They're told not to interact with us so that they don't end up on the front page of our YouTube channels. But they're the ones that caused that to happen. We don't do that to them. They do that to themselves.
That's great for community policing, like they're trying to build up the entertainment center, but now you're going to tow everybody's shit. So you're going to tow this one. They did the Plainview Doctrine on it. That's a private parking lot. How the hell are you going to tow off a private parking lot? Are you allowed to tow off a private parking lot? Are you allowed to tow off a private parking lot? Oh, you're going to ignore me? Okay. Be a dick. You were a dick to me one other night, too. It's Mr. Dickhead. He's the only tow truck driver that's ever been rude to me besides that other one. This is nothing about, it says, the signs do not, this is a private parking lot. So they're going to tow all these cars off, on people who are still working or think they're safe. It's a private parking lot. It doesn't say any, there's no telling if will reinforce signs. Let's look for them. Okay, here it says, here's a sign. Does anybody know how to do these? This is what the sign says. I gotta scratch so we can focus in. Here's what the signs say. The signs say, validated parking. Please register upon parking. Businesses can then validate parking for Folk Street warehouses. Ways to validate. You can scan the QR code or text pay. Failure to pay or extend time may result in boots. Okay, so how do they know if they paid or not? That's what I want to know. How do they know if they paid or not?
If I had questions, are they towing some of them, all of them, none of them? What's going on? Nobody will give me an answer, even though I'm asking. And I don't think that's quite fair.
How do you know if they paid or not? How do you guys know if they paid or not? Oh, they're gonna ignore me too. Help, rape, fire, 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 fire. That's great community relations too.
So remember, the affidavit said, even though Kruger is still in his vehicle right over here, that I berated the tow truck driver and the two female officers with obscene language for several minutes. And then I said to them, fire, fire, fire. But they continued to ignore me. Well, there was no berating with obscene language. You saw that for yourself. I don't know how Kruger heard it from his patrol car, but he claimed he did in the affidavit. He also charged me with filing a false police report for saying fire, fire, fire to my audience. And most people watching would probably say I was proving a point to my audience of how rude and disrespectful these police officers really are for totally ignoring me. Kruger charged me with false reporting. And I really don't know why his supervisors allowed him to do this, because here's the statute for false reporting. In order to secure a conviction in Texas of anything, all the elements of a crime must be present. Not just one, not just two, all of them. So in this case where they accused me of falsely reporting an emergency, first of all, they didn't take a report. So that's wiped out right there. And so there was no emergency response. Nobody got hurt. That's just not there. They lied about this. And it just goes to prove to you that these DAs, they just believe the reports that these officers make without even looking at any kind of video evidence, doing any kind of work to see what's really going on with the case. But it is proof that they're maliciously trying to convict me of a crime. And that's going to go on my lawsuit. Because they know none of these elements are there. They will now if they see this video, right? Next on the affidavit, it says, when this was not successful in getting officers to interact with her, Rodriguez continued to close the distance with them and repeatedly yelled ladies at them. It was apparent to me at this point that we would not be able to discuss or coordinate our ongoing investigation or search for the suspect driver, with Rodriguez continually interrupting us. I was also concerned that Rodriguez would attempt to publicly broadcast CJIS protected information displayed on my MDC over YouTube, as she was now approaching my vehicle as well. Don't flatter yourself, Kruger. I didn't even see you. And besides that, you approached me. I didn't approach you. Continuing with the affidavit, because one paragraph was separated into three. So it continues with this. I exited my squad car and informed Rodriguez that we were busy and that she needed to move to the other side of the street, pointing to the west side of Fox Street. Rodriguez failed to do so, stating that there was no investigation going on. I again told her that she needed to move to the other side of the street and warned her that if she did not, she would be arrested. Rodriguez again did not comply with this order and responded, "What are you talking about?" I told Rodriguez for the third time to go to the other side of the street, again pointing to the west side of Fox Street. Rodriguez again failed to comply and took a step back, blading her body to me and demanding that I tell her why. Rodriguez had, with criminal negligence, interrupted, disrupted, impeded, or otherwise interfered with peace officers while they were performing a duty or exercising authority imposed or granted by law. First of all, good luck on trying to prove interference, because it's number one, it's not against the law to yell ladies.
Number 2. You believed I was walking up to your car to film what you were doing on the inside of it. So you got out of your car to prevent me from doing a crime? So I wasn't doing a crime? You were getting out of the car to prevent me from doing a crime. So you came and walked up to me. I didn't walk up to you. I didn't even know you were there till you got out of your car. Number 3. Had I went to your car and filmed you inside your car, what you were looking at on your computer is actually able to be FOIA requested, so it's not against the law to film what was on your computer. It's not protected information. Pictures you get off those flock cameras are not protected. They belong to the public, so it would have been okay. But it would have broken your policy if you allowed me to film it. You have to create the privacy. You could have just shut your computer had I walked up to your window. Next, how was I supposed to know I was walking into a crime scene? I've got 2 women who are strolling along, ignoring my questions, telling the tow truck driver to ignore my questions. There was no cones, there was no tape, there wasn't anything to give me any kind of idea that I was walking into a crime scene or an investigation because nobody bothered to tell me there was an investigation going on. I am by law, specifically Turner versus Driver, allowed to film you while you are working. And you were trying to prevent that by making me go across the street. When I asked, what are you talking about? Why didn't you just tell me we have an investigation going on with this hit and run driver? He got away from us, even though he was drunk. Even though we have his address because we have his truck, we're still investigating, like the cameras and stuff. So you're violating my rights by preventing me from filming, per Turner versus Driver. You tried to prevent me from possibly doing a crime, so I haven't done a crime yet. You didn't have any kind of crime scene marked, so nobody, just a passerby, would even know they were walking into a crime scene without tape or without cones or without something, or maybe even an explanation from the people who are ignoring you. So you can't prove that I had criminal negligence because you interrupted me. I didn't interrupt you. You came out to me. You violated my rights by trying to prevent me from filming and making me move across the street. So you decided to arrest me when there wasn't even a crime. You know what? That's pretty darn sorry, but the worst is about to come. Okay, try not to laugh on this next part. Due to Rodriguez's sudden use of physical force against me to attempt to break my grasp and escape, I was unable to maintain a secure grip on her wrist and gave her a loud verbal command to stop resisting. Rodriguez continued to pull away, so I performed an arm bar takedown, turning her to the right and directing her to a prone position on the ground in order to maintain control of her and effect the arrest. As Rodriguez went to the ground, her left arm went behind her back, and I was able to grasp both of her forearms and restrain her to handcuffs. Rodriguez intentionally prevented or obstructed a person she knew was a peace officer from effecting an arrest, search, or transportation of her by using force against the peace officer. Are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me? Officer Kruger, I can't believe you swore on an affidavit that I tried to use force on you so I could run away and escape. That's because you only knew about your body cam footage and my footage. What you didn't know about was the store surveillance footage, and here that is right now. Notice how the ladies are very nonchalant. They don't feel like I'm a threat to them whatsoever. They're not moving in and trying to surround me. They know it's not against the law for me to ask why, because it only took 9 seconds from the time you said my name to the time I was knocked unconscious. But another thing that you didn't notice was on this camera. When you told me that I was under arrest, I didn't run from you or try to escape. I put my arm behind my back right there. And you rocked me back and forth so you could hip throw me. That's what happened. Check it out again, and then check out your body cam footage, and you can really look at that differently, especially since you know what happened in this footage. So we're going to finish with his body cam footage, and then you're going to leave me a comment and let me know if he was justified or not.
You can go to the other side of the street. You can go.
There's no investigation, there's no nothing.
You can go to the other side of the street or you're going to get arrested. I'm not warning you again.
What are you talking about?
Go to the other side of the street right now.
Wait, tell me why first. We're doing it.
You're under arrest. You're on. resisting.
Thanks for coming in, everybody.